Hi Year 6 and welcome to Thursday's geography lesson. We are starting a new geography unit this term and we are going to first find out about the structure of our Earth before we go on as the term progresses to learn about volcanoes and mountains and earthquakes and how all of those things work. So I want to start the lesson with a little bit of a thinking task. So on the screen you can see Earth, Mars and Jupiter. I want you to pause the video and I want you to decide which is the odd one out and think of a reason why. Remember, with the odd one out questions, there's no wrong answers as long as you've got a justification of the one that you've picked. Okay, so we might have chosen all different ideas and you'll have lots of different ideas. Some of the ones I thought of, we could have picked Earth because it's the only one that people live on. We could have picked Mars because it's the only one that's red. We could have picked Jupiter because it's the biggest planet. You might have lots and lots of other ideas. You might have talked about whether there was water on there. You might have talked about what it is. You might have different pieces of knowledge that helped you to pick an odd one out. But that's just to get us thinking. We are going to zone in now on the Earth. So, again, have a moment to brainstorm down on your piece of paper anything that you already know about the Earth. And it might be lots, it might be not much at all. And then I am going to teach you about the layers of our Earth. Okay, well done. Hopefully you thought of lots and lots of different things about our Earth. We might have talked about it orbiting the sun. You might have talked about it having land and oceans. You might have talked about the continents on it or the different oceans that you know. Could have talked about anything. So well done if you've got anything written down. And now we're going to find out all about its layers. So our planet, Earth, is made up of water and land. Okay, and it's the only planet with liquid water on the surface. And now scientists have been able to discover what we have beneath the surface. So we live on one layer where the land and the water is, but there are other layers beneath the surface, and there are 4. So if you look at my diagram, obviously the blue and green part is the bit that we live on, and then there are 3 others inside. Now they are called the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. Have a think about which one might be which. Okay. So, the crust. The crust is the outside layer, the bit that you can see with green and blue, with the land and the sea, the bit that we live on. Okay, it's different in different areas to others. So some parts of it are ocean, some parts of it are mountains, some parts of it are flat land, and it's all formed in slightly different ways. Now, we are going to learn more about this in our next lessons, but the pieces of the crust are made up of different plates called tectonic plates, and they come together. And as some of these plates come together, they can form mountains and volcanoes and different parts of our land. We're going to learn more about that tomorrow. Now, the crust is about 22 miles thick, it says there. Okay, the thickest part about 40 miles thick, the thinnest part 3 miles thick at the bottom of the ocean. Okay, so not very thick at places, but quite thick in other places. And this is the part that we live on. So the crust, where we live, made up of land and water. Let's go a bit deeper. The next layer then, so the red layer you can see on this diagram is called the mantle. Now, the mantle is the thickest layer and it is very, very hot. Its temperature ranges from 500 degrees Celsius, nearest the crust, nearest us, to 4,000 degrees Celsius, nearer the outer core. And it is liquid, kind of like what comes out of a volcano, magma, okay? And sometimes some of this leaks out. So if there's enough pressure underneath the crust at places where there are volcanoes, that will make a volcano and that will cause a volcanic eruption and the magma will come out. Okay, so the mantle is your thick layer, really hot layer of magma, shown in red on this screen. Deeper still now, so we have got the outer core. Now this is getting hotter still, so now even hotter than the mantle. We've got temperatures here, 4,440 degrees to 6,100 degrees, as hot as the sun. Now this layer, the outer core, is liquid lava, but is made of metals. So iron and nickel are two metals, but it's so hot that these metals are at liquid in this point, in this layer. Without this outer core, our life would be very different. We have a magnetic field on Earth, and scientists believe that it is the convection, which means heat transfer, between the liquid metals in this outer core that keeps our magnetic field going, which keeps us where we are in space and keeps life as we know it ticking along. So that's the outer core. That is the orange rim here on our diagram. As we go right deep down now into the center, we have the inner core. Now at the inner core, it has metals also. So it has the iron and the nickel, just the same as the outer core, those two metals. But in the inner core, they are solid. So in the outer core, they were at liquid, and in the inner core, they are solid, reaching temperatures still of over 5,000 degrees. Okay, now it's got a lot of heat energy. So it's like the engine room of our Earth. It's right at the center and it's kind of helping to control things. It is basically a solid ball of metal. Now it says on your screen is a radius of 760 miles. So that's about 70% of the size of the moon. So you know our moon's quite a lot smaller than us, and just that ball, that solid metal ball at the inner core, is about 70% the size of the moon. Okay, so this is what you would see if you cut our Earth down the middle. We usually just see our layer, the Earth and liquid layer, the crust, but underneath the crust you have got a mantle of magma, an inner core of liquid metal, an outer core, of liquid metal, and an inner core of solid metals, those metals being iron and nickel. So, what I would like you to do today then is have a go at drawing your own representation of the Earth, showing the 4 layers and then writing a little bit about each layer from what you have learned. If you don't want to draw, there's a sheet on the website that's got a diagram there that you can label up. If you're not able to print, I've numbered the layers so you can just write on your piece of paper. But if you are feeling creative and arty, you can draw your own representation and colour it in to show the different parts and the heat of the different layers. Also on the website, you may have watched it before my lesson, or you may want to go and watch it afterwards, but there is a YouTube link for a cool rap about the layers of the Earth. It will get stuck in your head, I promise. It is super catchy, but it will also help to reinforce all of the things that we've talked about. So it will actually help you to understand a little bit more. So it's worth a watch, and you might be playing it all day and annoying your parents by rapping along about the layers of the Earth. So go and find that if you haven't already seen it, and enjoy. And we really look forward to seeing your representations of the Earth all labelled up and explained, showing what you've understood. I will see you for tomorrow's geography lesson about the tectonic plates, the different parts of our crust and what they do. Bye-bye.